welcome. Now that I've got my patio finished, it's time to start adding stuff to it. So today I'm going to start on a project that I've been wanting to do literally for years, and that is make a cedar smokehouse. The smokehouse that I'm going to build today is actually going to be a smokehouse and a table put together. The smokehouse is going to be 16 inches wide, 22 inches deep, and about 42 inches tall. And the table is going to be 36 inches long and 22 inches wide and about 36 inches tall. And I'm going to make this out of some large cedar beams and cedar slab. Now these pieces of cedar I think were given to me because nobody wants to fool with them because they're so big. So I'm going to have to take and cut them down with my chainsaw. The top and the shelf I'm going to make out of the large slab of cedar that I have. And I'm going to have to slab it with my chainsaw, and I've never really slabbed lumber with a chainsaw, so this is kind of going to be a first for me. I'm a little bit nervous about it. So I'll show you the wood that I'm going to use and then get into trying to cut it down and slab it with the chainsaw. So here's the wood that I'm going to use. I cut this piece down when I was demonstrating the Salem Master chainsaw. This piece right here is 22 inches tall, 52 inches long, and about 6 inches thick. And then this piece over here is 8 by 8 square. And as you can see, it's got a crack that runs all the way down the center of it. And that's kind of what I'm going to use as my guide when I go to split that in half. What I'm wanting to do is once I get this cut in half is run it through my table saw and make 1/2 inch thick cedar boards to make my smokehouse with. All right, so I got my 2 slabs done. This one right here turned out pretty good. This one over here, not so much. I think I'm gonna have to use a hand planer a lot on these kind of to get them semi-decent looking, but there they are. I got all my large piece of wood broken down. This is gonna be my top shelf, my second shelf, my legs, and I'm gonna break these down into 1/2 inch planks. And I'll use those for the sides and the top of the smokehouse. I got all my planks cut. These 2 right here will be the left and right side, then front and back. Right now these pieces are about 3 inches too big, and as you can see there's gaps in there where the wood isn't straight. So once I square all this up, I'll trim it to size.
All right, you have to excuse my voice. I'm sick, but not infected, so hopefully I won't turn into a zombie. But I got most of my wood cut, got my 1/2-inch slats, the legs, various pieces for underneath the table. The legs and the pieces for the table I've stained. This other stuff that I'm actually going to use for the smoker, I'm not going to stain because it's probably not a good idea to put that in a smoker. So now I'm ready to start doing some pre-assembly. See, that's 16. All right, so I got the table portion of my smoker done. This piece right here will be the actual bottom of the smoker. And then this piece right here is just something I could set this on so I'd have a semi-level ground to work on. Now I'm ready to start doing the frame for the smoker. To make the frame for my smokehouse, I'm using 1.5-inch square cedar. So here's the basic frame of my smoker. When I get through, it's going to be 20 inches wide, 17 inches long, and about 36 inches high. Now that I have my basic frame done and I've got my brackets for my hanging dowels done, I can start working on the cladding.
So I got my doors and my toggle locks on. All I got left to do now is work on the top. Now that I got my roof on, I can go ahead and sand everything down and put a coat of stain on it, add some handles and maybe a vent on this side over here. So here's my now finished smoker and table, and I haven't permanently attached the smoker to the table yet because I don't know exactly where I'm going to put this on my patio. And I'm really liking the chainsaw marks in the top itself. I think it makes it look more like a farm table or recycled lumber, so quite happy with that. The hanging rod's actually made out of some cedar scrap. And then here's my vent that I can just push out of the way to reveal the vent holes. And I don't expect this to be like airtight because cedar, when it gets wet, it expands and contracts. But once I use this a few times, the soot from the smoke should seal up all the holes. So with everything complete, I'm going to take and put a burner in the bottom chamber and do kind of a test smoke to see if I can get this up to 225 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, so as I predicted, it is leaking smoke, but the temperature is climbed almost to 225 degrees and it's still climbing. And I imagine if I put a larger pan down here with more wood chips, it'll get there a lot quicker. It's been running about 30 minutes to get to that temperature, so I'm going to call this a successful test. All right, so there's the Cedar Smokehouse and table build. And before I go any further, while filming this channel went over 1,000 subscribers, so I just want to say thank you to everybody for that. The total build cost for this smoker and table was like $10, and that was for finishing nails and hinges. There's no telling how much money it would cost to buy all this cedar that I used to make the table and the smokehouse. And this is one of them type deals where when somebody offers you something, you have to really sit down and think, well, what could I do with that before you tell them no? And in this case, it turned out to the good for me. Now, a lot of people say when adding up the cost of these projects that I should include my time in the cost, and I disagree with that because I don't make this stuff to sell or anything like that. Everything that I make, I actually make for myself or my fiance or for both of us to use. And it's kind of like therapy. Every project that I do helps keep my mind active, keeps me from getting stagnant and getting caught up in all the news that's going on and the COVID pandemic and things like that. Due to time constraints, this time of year I travel a lot for work, so I wasn't actually able to smoke any meat. And the video that I'll post in a couple of weeks, I'll actually take this smoker, throw some meat in it, and see how it does. Until then, thank y'all for watching. We'll see y'all next time.